Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to episode 71 of the newly rebranded Sofa Manager Scottish Football Podcast. An exciting new logo on show this week. Our video viewers might be able to see on the tiny wee phone case that's in front of us if it scales up to 1080p. So if you do like the new logo, just tell us in the comments, give us likes. Lots of work has gone into it. I know a lot of people have been asking for merchandising surrounding new products and things. An exclusive Sofa Manager sofa has even been suggested this week, but I think we're some way off that. Anyway, on episode 71 this week, we'll be talking about the Betfred Cup final. Video viewers might see me in my Aberdeen top with my ice cream stain that I've been crying into for the last few hours or so. And we'll be talking about why I think Hugh Dallas lives up to his name as a cowboy, frankly, for his reckless refereeing decisions. Also, our other team, Falkirk, I finally felt proud enough to put the strip up behind me. Finally get a victory against Inverness, so I'm the worst glory hunter ever, switching from rubbish team to rubbish team there. We'll also be talking about Rangers going top of the league as Scott Arfield kicks on, and their Europa League shenanigans in midweek, along with Lawrence Shagga Lankland, which won't catch on, I'm really sorry about that, and the European qualifier draw. Anyway, alongside me this evening, it is the very own Sofa Manager comment warrior, who's been all over the comments in this week's Instagram section, like a proactive member of the podcast. It is Fraser.
Evening.
Hello, Fraser. But lots of interesting thoughts on League 3. And you were politely reminding me that Alfredo Morelos was signed under Caixinha, was it? Which I had completely forgotten.
I just assumed that you weren't taking him as a positive sign.
Well, I wouldn't have taken him as a positive. I still think Candeas was probably a better signing than Morelos, but it's perhaps extreme to say the only good thing to come from Caixinha's reign. And of course myself, the most miserable announcer in the land currently, after his team was beaten in the cup final. Anyway, let's get straight on with things, shall we? Right, topic number one. The Betfred Cup final. Sorry, I put myself together.
Did you expect any different?
I did.
Really?
Do you know what? If you followed our story on Instagram, at Sofa Manager, I was cautiously optimistic, and my viewpoint today, or on Sunday, was that it has to happen at some point. Like, you know, Aberdeen have played Celtic in 4 or 5 finals now.
Too many that you haven't won.
Too many, and it was my opinion that it would just have to happen. But, you know, the overwhelming favourites were Celtic, and they did ultimately prevail.
I mean, when you lose your best player, Gary
Yes.
Mackay-Steven, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that later or not, but that looked a terrible head knock.
Well, I mean, we should wish him well.
Yeah, exactly.
Frankly, he's been that at the time. You looked at it, and it was the state of him after that you were seriously worried.
Conscious going down the tunnel, I believe.
Apparently so. Yeah. Apparently,
Haven't heard anything since.
Neither have I. I mean, you were concerned, you know, for his overall health, because watching it back, you know, Boyata's headed him as if he was a football, and no fault of Boyata. It was just.
I heard at least some complaints of should it have been a penalty. As an Aberdeen fan, what are your thoughts?
At the time, it didn't come to mind, because it is just one of these things.
He's just fighting through for the ball, but he's late at it. I reckon you give a free kick for that.
I've never thought about it in terms of headed challenges.
He's really late. The ball's just about in Bain's hands by the time Boyata clatters him. But if you're going to give a foul for that, then what's the point in going up for headed challenges in the box? Because everything's a foul. Usually
as well, they go with if you get the shot away, they tend to be less likely to.
Less likely, but for me, it's probably not a penalty. I wanted to get an Aberdeen's fan perspective on it. I know all my Celtic fans are going to hate me for even suggesting it.
It was interesting though, they were all furious that James Forrest got booked for stamping on Max Lowe.
Didn't see it.
It was one of these ones, you know how players are constantly stamping on each other, but they make it look like it's an accident.
Is this the one where he could have taken his foot off earlier?
Yes. Definitely. He knew what he was doing. Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Footballers are experts at making it look like they don't mean to do it, but...
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, it's a yellow card. It is.
I actually thought Maxwell was probably my man of the match on the Aberdeen end of things.
Up there. Lewis, but he didn't have it. All he did was make a penalty save.
His handling
Okay.
Earlier in the first half, I thought was a bit shonky.
I missed the first 20 minutes, so maybe I've missed something there.
And Christie's goal as well.
Whilst he can't do anything about that.
He was desperately unlucky, but there was a few before then he kept palming out instead of dealing with. But the penalty save was tremendous.
To be fair,
even though it was miles off the line.
McLennan.
Yes,
Thought McLennan had a really good game when he came on.
he did.
But no, I think you're right. Lowe had a really good game, and Forrest has scored in last three League Cup finals or something like that.
Well, they did do a really good job of keeping their main men quiet. You know, McGregor was marked off the park. Christie was a very good individual per goal, actually, which was the difference between the two. Which did you see the footage of his dad in the crowd, Charlie Christie?
I saw him at the end of the game. Didn't see him after the goal.
He was getting some action there. I was like, "You're getting lucky tonight, Charlie." It was a bit steamy for 3 o'clock Scottish football television.
Watershed show.
Well, near enough. And then my dad was like, "Who did he play for Celtic?"
I personally, no idea. This first time I've heard of him.
I think he's part of the Inverness
I'm going to get abuse in the
brass,
comments for not knowing that, but
I don't think he was a big part.
Right,
of
okay,
Celtic.
fair enough.
But I'm obviously very, very proud of his son. It was interesting. I was shocked that he brought on McLennan for Gary Mackay. But Gary Mackay, Stephen, actually up to that point wasn't that involved.
No, but you have to pay attention to him.
The
Celtic players have to be doubly aware of where he is. And then McLennan came on and probably did about as good as anybody could expect him to. Who would you have brought on instead?
Well, Scott Wright would be my personal, but McLennan was a bigger lad, and I think he was going for more physicality.
Yeah, I mean, starting
Cosgrove.
Yeah.
Well, one of my comments on Instagram earlier in the day was like, your team got thumped by Motherwell last week. What are you expecting? And I'm like, aha. But that's the perfect preparation. Pressure's off, and our strikers have been pretending to be rubbish all season so they can pounce on an opportunity.
Pretending, sure.
Sadly, I was wrong.
I don't remember a shot from a striker. Wilson had a couple of wee.
There was one. He got into the position in the same way he scored against Kilmarnock the other week, the absolute worldie, and then you're like, and then he didn't shoot, and he took too many touches, and you're going, if you just.
I mean, this is the thing. I think Aberdeen fans feel a wee bit hard done to by a little bit, but if you look at the overall game, Celtic deserve to win it.
Sadly so. I'm proud of my team. I think
there is no denying that it wasn't an excellent. Excellence, maybe a strong word.
Compared to how they have been playing this season.
They played very well. Very interesting to see McInnes. It looked like it had literally been set up man to man.
Yes.
You follow that man wherever he goes on the park. And you very rarely see that in football. There's a couple of instances of, especially with Tierney overlapping down the left-hand side, where, was it Shea Logan looked like he was struggling because he would normally peel off and take Tierney down the line and leave his midfield partner to stick with whichever one of the forwards it was. But no, Logan had to stay with the guy with the ball, and who's playing right mid?
For Celtic?
No, for Aberdeen.
Niall McGinn.
Don't think it was later on in the game. It might have been Shinnie actually following a centre mid down the line. Had to run all the way around the two people on the ball.
Yeah.
It probably cost them the goal as well, with Shinnie having to follow Christie all the way through between his centre backs, and Christie just got the run on him.
At the time, you could tell that the players were completely shell shocked by what had happened to Mackay. A lot of passes that were going wayward. They just wanted to see out.
I've got a couple of thoughts on that we'll get to later, but
we'll
get to that later.
Okay.
The goal was great ball from Boyata. Excellent ball from Boyata.
How did he come back on the park?
That's part of what we'll get to later, I'm sure.
Fraser's an NFL expert, is well equipped to talk about this.
But great first touch from Christie.
The boy's a sensational footballer.
First shot, should have done better with it probably.
Yeah.
Got lucky, it rebounded straight to him, and then the second finish is really excellent, falling away.
Strikers are honestly rotten one-on-one these days. I saw it this afternoon from, I think, Firmino in that Everton game.
Firmino
he was through one-on-one. Patched it. Edouard patched
that was
it.
Dreadful.
As well. You know, there was a lot of, we had Matt Ritchie the other week, he's square in front of goal. The striking in the game's rubbish.
But, I mean, interesting to see him celebrate as he did. I have no problem with players celebrating against their former team. especially in a cup final.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't do it. I thought it was interesting. He didn't seem like that kind of.
I mean, his end game at Aberdeen was always to get into the Celtic team. To be honest, I never
Rightly,
thought
that's
it
the
would
point.
happen.
That's the point in a loan move.
Well,
But-
absolutely. So I don't think he's got that strong an affinity. And hearing him in the interview in the lead up, he was a great place to learn my trade. He didn't really say that he enjoyed it especially much or anything like that.
And his post game.
I didn't watch it.
his post game interview was nice to hear some of the words that he was saying as well, just about how
good.
he respected what was going on. But
No, I thought the Aberdeen team it was a real stand-up performance from them, which is all
effort, guts.
still miserable.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It was a great cup final on the whole because it was a game you could get into.
As more of a neutral, I thought it was a good game. Is it one that if you asked me in 3 years' time, was it a great game? I probably wouldn't say so because
1-0.
there was a lot of. But you get 1-0s where there's lots of chances, lots of goal mouth action. This was just grit and guts, and a battle's a great word for it.
I think it's interesting as well, Celtic are now going for the treble.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back, 5 or 10 years in Scottish football, we had a huge variety of cup winners. Hearts and Johnston, Inverness, Kilmarnock, Livingston, Gretna.
Made the final, got beat by
the final.
Hearts.
Crazy, they got beat by
Penalties.
Hearts. Aberdeen in the League Cup final. And these competitions have just completely lost. And I was like, see, as a Celtic fan today, would you really care? Like,
I think so. Because
as much as an
right
Aberdeen
now,
fan.
but see, right now, I think definitely because right now they're facing serious questions.
Mm-hmm.
They've shaken it off a wee bit. The win against Rosenborg in midweek, which we'll get to later as well, was great for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Rangers are above them in the table now.
Yes.
Yes, they need to keep winning, and if they start to lose big games, then their questions get asked about their credentials for winning Old Firm games. And if they don't win the Old Firm games, there's every chance they lose the 10 in a row.
Well, I'm about ready to have them toppled.
I think if you're anything other than a Celtic fan, you're about ready for it. But I think they have to be looking to win every trophy that's put in front of them.
Well, I got excited digging out, the old photos of the open top bus,
the
travelling
parade,
through Aberdeen, which I was there for. I was like, it could happen. I would go. I would take a day off just to see it there. But sadly not.
Right.
One thing. What are you going to move on to?
I was going to move on to Dedrick Boyata, but
so the kind of concussion-based incident.
I think they're right. So first of all, I think there's a really easy fix for it.
Right.
Take rugby's example.
Right.
Blood bin.
Right.
They now have a concussion bin as well. I think you take them off the park, you put a substitute on for 10 minutes. You got up to 10 minutes to do your tests, to do your concussion checks, and then after that 10 minutes, you can put your
player back on.
You can put your player back on.
Right.
I think it's easy. I don't think it's complicated at all. It gives chances for teams to check their players. It saves players the. You don't want to look like a player that's gone, no, I might have a concussion, I'm going to come off. Nobody wants to come off the field, especially in a cup final. Boyata was never going to say, no, I need to come off. But if he had a concussion, and I would suggest that perhaps the ball he played to Christie would suggest he didn't have one.
Well, the way he walked off the pitch didn't look like he was entirely with us.
Possibly not, but I think that sort of stamps out even the possibility. Because there's no way that they've done a full concussion check in the time it's taken Christie to get Mackay-Steven to get it looked at while he's getting stitches applied and heads repaired.
Yes, they're doing stitches on the side of the pitch.
No, but
I think football seems to be a very traditional game that is very wary of a change like that. For example,
I get that.
The sort of digital influence of VAR and things. And I know other leagues. I'm sure the Premier League have some sort of concussion thing in place,
but I don't think that comes in until after the game, or something. Again, we talked about being a
stat man just now telling me about this. Neil Doncaster, stop talking about it. Oh, sorry.
The NFL, I think, do it right in that you come off. They have a tent.
They have a tent.
Whether they have a tent or not.
Yes.
You take them off. You get them checked. You put them back on. It's as simple as that. You either get back on or you don't. And
Much easier for them with the size of the squad.
Well, yes, but you have your substitutes there for a reason.
Absolutely.
In this particular case, I
wouldn't have brought him on before the end of that half. I don't think.
But then you're playing.
I know.
You're playing 8 minutes of the half without your centre half on the field.
But that's the conundrum that the rules have left us with
exactly.
which your solution solves.
So the other thing was and obviously Celtic fans are glad that the game got restarted because they scored their goal. I was a little bit surprised, and I know again it's the letter of the law that the time has to be added on in that half. I wondered whether he would just call half time, and I don't think he can. But I just call it, because had Boyata not been as good as he was in the end, then neither team wants to be there for another 8 minutes.
No. Well, the goal would never have happened either.
So there's your argument.
We have to know that how they come down, pretty hard. We remember the coin flipping incident of last week in which the referee was supposed to be banned.
Yeah.
Logic prevailing would suggest that you would blue. Blue. My old fanship's coming back to me there. You would blow for half time, but
it's letter of the law. I understand it, but
traditionally it's very boring. But it's a game rooted in tradition. And
yeah, just as we said.
That's one thing I don't get about football clubs is none of them have changed their logos in like 100 years.
I mean, show a wee bit of
rebrand.
Yeah,
because
again, a bit of ingenuity.
That's one of the things that happens.
I'm sure somebody has.
Well, Falkirk have a relatively modern logo. Kilmarnock redid theirs ish recently.
They rebranded mascots.
Well, Partick Thistle have been the shining light of that.
Yeah.
Literally, because it's some sort of demented sunshine.
Yeah, well.
Demented sunshine, that's a good.
There's a ice hockey one over in America at the moment. It's excellent. It's getting global news. I think it was on the BBC the other day.
All right.
Don't know enough about it. Shouldn't have brought it up. Continue.
There used to be that really good basketball mascot that used to eat people.
It's not the Bulls one, and it's not the Globetrotters one.
Oh,
I don't know mascots well enough. I was talking about the games, but
I got interested. It's a bit of an off topic in like the tallest people in the world. So you come across basketballers, and there was this kid that plays for like a college team or something who's like 7'11",
and he just stands and.
But he's got some sort of disease, so he's just so gangly. Well, he's not diseased. His parents are huge, and it is.
It's actually scary. It looks like he's got an eating disorder. Oh.
But then I think one of the tallest guys in the league was actually English. Oh, his name was Paul something. I'm going to kick myself. But he's not like a big NBA player, but he was in like the second division and played for the Globetrotters for some time, would you believe? Called Stretch, which or something like that. No, it wasn't called Stretch.
Well, there is a Globetrotter, I'm sure, called Stretch, so that would make sense at least.
I think it wasn't called Stretch, but you saw him with a picture next to a golfer, and the golfer was just an average height guy who looks like a mini human being. It's absolutely hilarious. Anyway,
moving on.
Referee had a shocker.
Yeah.
Hence why I say, Andrew Dallas is a cowboy.
It was
slicked back here and all.
Was it his first final? Was it his first final?
Must be.
It just he didn't.
I mean, the penalty for a start.
Right, there are two reasons it's not a penalty, and
it's outside the box.
It's outside the box. It's. Do you remember the World Cup? The Portuguese handball guy heads it onto his own hand.
Yes.
And it gets overturned by VAR, and everybody's up in arms by it. It's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
His arm doesn't move from after it hits his head.
What control?
It doesn't change. So I again going against the traditions of football here, but I think the handball rule is wrong. For me, it should be does the hand affect in any sort of meaningful way? Does it affect which direction the ball's going?
Well, see, I would go for more stricter. I would go any
does
handball.
Does it touch the ball? Does it touch his? There is that, but I mean, you get the ones where it pops up, hits his hand, and goes the same direction it was going to go. What's the point? You can't give a handball for that.
But the problem is with the quality of refereeing standards we currently have, bringing more interpretation into the rules seems like a bad idea.
Is it more interpretation? Is the ball still going the same kind of direction?
Well, if it touches your hand, free kick. There's no interpretation.
No, I understand that. But at the moment, it's, well, did this guy mean it? So you have to know what somebody else is thinking at the moment, at least with one of the two suggestions here.
It sounds confusing for the unintellectuals that are the referees of our land.
Well, it's not penalties outside the box, regardless of whether it's a handball or not.
But then when the penalty was taken, Joe Lewis was off his line. So
have you ever seen that be enforced?
No.
I can't think of.
One gripe of mine is always foul throws, though. So if you're going to just Anyway. But it would have been, as they said in the commentary, an absolute outrage had they have enforced that. Scott Brown just waltzed onto the pitch and did what he fine well wanted.
It's generally what Scott Brown does.
I hate that man. With a burning passion. Every Celtic fan.
I think every Scottish football fan hates him beyond Celtic fans, and even some of them can get frustrated from time to time. He does the job he's meant to do, and he never gets sent off, so he does it perfectly.
Not that he should have been sent off, but
no, he should not. No, I'm not suggesting that. But
it felt like Dominic Ball were skirting dangerously close to
how Lewis Ferguson stayed on the pitch. Not for anything egregious, just 2 yellows. How he only managed to... He got to the 72nd minute without getting a yellow card.
He's been brilliant for them, actually.
Yeah, he has been excellent. But... and then Lustig at the end got a wee bit...
How about that with the wee kind of fighting and stuff?
He apparently he put his hands on Ferguson's throat, apparently.
Right.
McInnes had a wee word at the end. I kind of wish I wish I'd heard what was going on, but it's
game was gone in that last 10 minutes.
Yeah, Sutton touched on it though. You're an international player who lot of experience. There's no need for that.
No.
Why are you trying to bring a reaction out of somebody after you've won the game? Because they had won the game. There was one more kick.
I know. Never again, please. But it was interesting as well because in the middle of the week it looked like the referee was going to cost Rangers as well, or did cost Rangers by sending off Candeas by mistake for booking him wrongly in the first instance. Did he not?
No,
the initial yellow card should have gone to someone else.
No, it's the second yellow. That's the
sorry.
second one. You want to talk about that now, or when you get
Let's
to
talk about it. There's
not much to talk about.
Millions of pounds on the table due to these people's decisions.
Morelos, and he was so not incompetent, but you
Morelos
could tell he didn't have a clue. Because he booked Candeas, and then it took the entire Villareal team surrounding him, going, "That's his second yellow," for him to eventually go over and consult the fourth official, the linesman, who then spent 5 minutes going, "Well, which one of the 3 guys that you could have booked did you book?"
Oh, it's too late.
And
to
he
remember.
booked the wrong one. So eventually the assistant ref went, "Yeah, you did book him, so send him off."
Brilliant.
And it's the second time in 2 weeks. When was it St Mirren he got sent off against?
Oh, possibly.
I think so. Second time in 2 weeks that he got sent off and shouldn't have been sent off.
Could a coincidence?
No, because he shouldn't have been sent off in either situation. He gets his second yellow there. Morelos commits the foul, and then is it Tavernier shoves.
Here's a question: Tavernier or Tavernier?
I nearly said Tavernier and then realised no, I say Tavernier.
Or hold on, the big one this week: Morelos or Moreles, as frickin' Ali McCoist can't get it through his head. There's
an O in the shirt.
I know. Like where? He's done this for ages, and for some reason it's come to the forefront. Because I said it when it was on commentary. The tweets have been flying around about it as well.
Well,
although alternatively on Sports Team we had the poor girl was doing the Falkirk game. I think it was, she's one of the more inexperienced, and of course the Mintas Petrovicius.
Yes,
and you can see
good
her,
luck.
You can see her go Petra. Oh no. And to be fair, she did a good job and just went vicious. And I was like, that's a much better pronunciation than Petrovicius. It should just be Petrovicius. Anyway, get that printed on the back of your top.
It's interesting. Before the McGregor Nurmagomedov fight, all the BT sport commentators had great fun trying to pronounce
no
that.
Idea. I have seen there's a funny clip of them trying to do Petrovicius at an East Fife game, and the person just stops and goes Petra,
the number 11.
Well, no, they didn't even do that. They just fluffed it, and I was just like, come on. But anyway, I thought they were brilliant against Villareal though. Rangers
did everything you could have asked them to do, especially having gone down to 10 men.
Gutted that Middleton was offside, and I'm not a big blue noser in
but again, it's Scottish football,
best
and
for all of us.
you should be supporting Scottish football in Europe. I don't care what anybody says.
But I'm saying they're able to compete with a team like Villareal, and in the same way that Celtic were competing with Leipzig and stuff like that as well.
I mean, Rangers are Villareal are struggling in Spain.
Yes.
Rangers have had games with them before. It's a long time ago, sure, but they pushed them hard in the last 16 of the Champions League. They were very good back then. So
Juan Riquelme and co.
Exactly. Chris Boyd missed a sitter that would have put them through, I'm sure.
Juan Riquelme,
Chris Boyd. But it just shows, and it was really nice to see that they didn't just park 10 men behind the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They still
That's a new expression for me.
Yeah. they still managed to find some attacking chances, and if Middleton just holds his run for half a second longer,
I know.
I get it to an extent, but got to be smarter.
He is brilliant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
he's not on loan.
no,
is
he's
he?
there. Although the question does arise to me is how much longer will he be there? Because
I don't know. I mean, I think he'll stay for. He's young enough.
see, that for me, I think is Rangers' biggest problem at the moment. In that
Where does he go?
Premier League, he's young enough to slot into someone's, not academy system, but like the sort of reserve to bench sort of style.
That really irritates me, and I know it's a problem with the Scottish game and the money that's in it. But if you've got a chance at first team football in a European competition, why are you taking a bench or a reserve spot in a bottom of the table Premiership team that are probably going to be playing Championship football next year and might release you?
Well, that's the thing, that I find it ironic that some of these players who've moved about, like Redmond, for example, for Southampton, was a brilliant player for Norwich years ago. Could go down, Norwich could go up, and a lot of people commit to that. I'm sure Matt Phillips did the same, and ended up doing the Championship eventually as well.
I don't understand it. I really don't. Just take your European football.
But do you not see Rangers as a club that would have to sell some of these guys?
I don't know. I don't know how their finances are. I'm not going to pretend to have any idea.
But I just think even Celtic and stuff like that, to the point, because they were talking this week about...
No, because I mean, you put Middleton in the same boat as... I wanted to say Christie, but Christie's clearly gone beyond Middleton in the past few weeks. But he is that young winger who is beginning to prove himself now. It's like what Forrest was maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Probably longer than that, even, to be honest. But
ages to develop the way.
yeah, but Middleton's playing really well. Does it mean he's a first team Premier League player? I wouldn't say so. No,
maybe not quite yet. I just think it's going to be tough for them to challenge Celtic and to build, but they're doing that. Top of the league, as we say, and 51,000 people at Ibrox to watch that Villareal game.
It brings up a big game against Vienna.
Oh, Vienna! Which
they played Vienna in the first time round at Ibrox. I thought Rangers were in a different class to them. I thought they were so much better.
Do Vienna have anything to play for?
Vienna top of the group.
That's a problem.
So Rangers have to win. If they win, they're through. If they don't, they're out.
So the problem is they are still on the down in that they haven't got 3 points since the Vienna game.
No.
Which was quite a while back. And they're not exactly steamrolling teams here. 2-1 against the Hearts team that's not playing that well today. And
if they can keep 11 men on the park for a change, maybe they'll do something. But
get to that
I think there's a very good chance of progression. And if you go back to the first time when we talked about the draws, this is the top level that I thought Rangers would get to. If they were challenging for second place at the end of the group stage, they'd done more than we could expect them to. And they're actually challenging for the top group, top of the group.
To be in the group stage is remarkable, because you look at punted out by Niederkorn the year before. It's remarkable progress. If they got progress, if they got punted out here, we could still say that's fantastic progress. I think. Yeah. If they went through,
amazing.
I think it'll be difficult because they are in sort of down form in the Europa League. But you never know until you turn up and see these teams actually play against each other.
Still only lost once.
And so out of the two, Rangers and Celtic, who's more likely to do it for you? Because I think Celtic have an incredibly difficult game against Salzburg.
I think you could... I think probably Celtic, because I still think they're a better team.
Yes.
And the team they're playing don't have anything to play for. And any result could still take them through. Rangers, I think, have more chance of winning their game, but they have to win it, and Vienna only have to not lose. So they could set up the stall to just not get beat, and that would mean Rangers going on their travels and winning in Europe for the first time in forever.
Well, that's the problem as well, is we are Scottish teams and we are merchants of bottling it at the opportune moments. But with Steven Gerrard in check, a man who traditionally doesn't bottle it at opportune moments, apart from when he slipped for the league.
Apart from when he did.
But that was gutting, because that's the one. I'm sure there's a documentary about him on Amazon Prime at the moment, probably. As well, which probably kind of mars his entire career. But won the Champions League from 3-0 down. Heavens ago, remember that. So I will see how we get on there, but it's
positive. It's very positive.
Yeah, we are looking to go through the Europa League, which
with 2 teams.
It's hugely positive over 5 years ago.
I'd love to check when the last time Scotland had 2 teams still in Europe after January.
Rangers and Aberdeen when they went to 2000. I'm pretty sure.
Very, very possibly though.
I'm sure Celtic and Rangers maybe did it later
with the Champions League and Europa League place.
Because it was the year Celtic went through in the Champions League played Juventus and stuff.
But was that not the first year that Rangers were really struggling?
Possibly. Gosh, remember those dizzying heights? Anyway, feet appropriately back on the ground. The Scottish Championship was featured this weekend, and as we've said, the second victory of the season for the mighty Falkirk Bairns. Scott Harrison in 96 minutes.
I'd take it.
Getting the victory there. Inverness actually haven't lost since March, on a run of 11 draws and 15.
Really?
Yes. Which is actually an abysmal points haul if you think about it.
How are they 4th?
Well, because they won the other 3 or something like that.
That seems ridiculous.
The Championship is...
It's very tight, but...
It's so uncompetitive. Nobody can do anything against...
Well, it's very competitive then, it's just everybody's not very good.
So that's what I didn't get. I looked at the League One table the other day, and our both are miles ahead,
yeah.
But see, once you get to third, everyone's goal difference is negative. And I'm like...
Our both are just that much better.
Yeah, but are they just scoring 8 goals against every team to just completely...
I think they won 5-2 at the weekend. There's just loads of results like that.
I was gutted about that. Dennismuir went 1-0 up. Colin McMahon...
Does that make Arbroath better than Falkirk too?
Yes, significantly, for that matter.
I wonder if it shines a wee bit of light on the game last week.
No,
we didn't talk about this. Falkirk getting beat off Stenhousemuir in the cup.
There's only one team in Falkirk. No.
Well,
that was a low. That was a really low. Which has been forgotten about.
It's been forgotten about for now.
Ish.
Would you... So, Stenhousemuir now been drawn against Aberdeen.
Yes. I would have loved a Falkirk.
I'd love the Falkirk Aberdeen game too. But
Falkirk,
regardless, they're going to get beat off Aberdeen, surely.
Yes.
So, are you going to take that? So, if by the end of the season we're talking about cup distractions, would you take winning one game against Steny that you're meant to win,
or relegation?
Relegation,
because there's the League One bungee effect, as it's now affectionately known, of Livingston and Ayr United. Probably Partick Thistle next season as well, by the way things are going. Dunfermline as well came back up from League One and kind of took a wee bit longer to steady themselves. It's a longer budget. It's a bungee. It's a more stringy rubber band. Dunfermline will go up in the next 25 years. Anyway, don't quote me on that. YouTube viewer from 2020. It'll be 2040 something anyway.
Good maths.
Will this still be on YouTube in 2040?
I have absolutely no idea. But
comment below if it is. Wearing my walking stick or something. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think when league success isn't there, you always look towards the cup. And I think when Falkirk played badly...
But we're not going to win the cup.
Yeah, I know, but when Falkirk played badly last season, at least they still had... and ultimately got punted out by Rangers, but they got to the quarters, I think.
Yeah, it was the quarters.
Which was something.
It was something, but...
Had a really easy route there, but... you can't be beat by your League One.
No, you can't. You can't. It's very disappointing. Nobody's arguing it. I would rather they prioritise the league than the cup, and if that's... I'll give them the benefit of the doubt now that they've won their first game after it.
Well, defending the game was honking. Absolutely honking. But watching the highlights, they're just a totally different team away from home. Like when I watch them,
pressure.
Well, that's what I maybe think. The Falkirk fans can be quite. If a game goes on and they're not getting what they like.
Falkirk are a big enough team that they don't expect to be sitting 10th in the league.
That's true. But the boy Rudden, I think, has scored. I think he's up to 7 or 8 goals now. 90% of them have come away from home.
I'd take it.
And some have been screamers. The boy's got such confidence.
Fine.
I'm not having a problem.
No complaints.
But I would like to see
I'd like to
with
see
my own
home.
eyes, you see. That's what I feel about Morelos sometimes, is everyone talks about him being this good player. And he scores goals every now and then. But see when you actually watch
What do you
him...
mean every now and again?
No, he does.
He scores all the time.
No, but see when you watch him on television, you're just like...
And then he scores goals.
but he misses...
But he doesn't do anything, then he scores goals.
He misses a lot. He's not as good as Chris Boyd or something like that.
You keep playing
He's not
him.
as good as the current Chris Boyd as well.
Gives more to the team than Chris Boyd does on top of that.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So 3 points, 200 Falkirk fans in attendance, which was more than Villareal took to Rangers, by the way. So Falkirk technically a bigger team than Villareal. Funes Mori and Santi Cazorla gave us a call.
Cazorla was awful.
Yeah, he was on the bench. He's not having a good time.
Came on and played terrible.
They seem to have quite a good African boy though that I thought did
can
the
be.
worst
By the way,
dive.
Alan McGregor.
Oh, sensational. Absolute sensational. I still don't like him for all his shenanigans in the past.
Oh, the boozegate with Ferguson.
Aye. Also, you hear about Lafferty and his escapades in recent weeks.
I haven't.
Snapchatting some other woman with his not newly pregnant, but like newborn baby wife and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, brilliant. They went to Hearts and got a victory. We'll come to that. But as you say, lows of last week, 3 points and they're now above Partick Thistle, who
And
must be dismal.
Only a goal behind Alloa now too, because it's same number of points, same number of goals conceded, and 1 point down on goals scored.
Aloha. However, we do know that they're the most well-attended
Jesus.
team in the Championship. We screenshot the weekend on Sports Scene showed an attendance of 6,000 people at the Indodrill Stadium. Now, if you don't know what the Indodrill Stadium is, Google just now and look at it and tell me whether you think
A lot of
it can hold 6,000 people.
I mean, Hampden fit 100,000 once. You can fit a lot of people in when they're standing.
Yeah, even still.
I'm not defending this in any way.
Really funny. I think they actually got it mixed up with like the Dundee United attendance or something
okay.
like that. But it was very funny when it came. I'm a nitpicking, don't worry. They got beat by Ross County just the 90-minute winner. Big news of the Championship weekend though was Ayr United beating Dundee United 5-0 at Tannadice. In a game that was on Alba actually, which I don't think anybody watched.
Probably not.
You've wasted your money there, BBC Scotland, on those Championship games, by the way. It's a waste of your time.
And they don't
Unless you
advertise
get me to host it, and Fraser. We're very knowledgeable about the Championship, as you see. But key fact there: Lauren Shankland or Shanga Lankland, that could catch on.
It won't.
Shanga Lankland, nearly. Ayr United fans right in. 4 goals there. And then there's obviously been a lot of conversation about, will he move in January?
Yeah.
Swansea has been the team mooted for such a thing. Do you think a player of Scottish Championship level can make it in, say, English Championship level?
If you're scoring as many goals as Shankland, can you at least get a chance?
Okay.
Potentially. I think it'll be a struggle. Is McBurney still at Swansea?
Yes.
I mean, I would expect Ollie McBurney to be scoring more goals in the Scottish Championship.
Well, that's true.
So I'd be interested to see what kind of price tag they put on it. It would scare me a little bit, I think, because I think it would be quite a lot of money. Because
I'm thinking 6 figures.
Well,
the mid. Not 6 figures. Sorry, 4, 3. No, hundreds of thousands. So
6 figures. Yeah.
Well done, Paul. Millions there.
No, I think. Were Rangers and Celtic not touted as looking at potentially 7 figures, or am I making that up?
For Shankland?
Yeah. I might be making that up completely. But
for a person that scored 20 plus goals already this season, it's not that crazy.
It isn't crazy. It is crazy. It's horrendously crazy. But
clip that. It is crazy.
But you can see it happening. It shouldn't be happening, but you could see it happening.
Well, you look at, for comparison, for example, Lewis Morgan went to Celtic. He's been getting some kind of garbage time for Celtic. That's probably a move that's too soon in his career. But, in Championship of old...
But how many years has Shankland been doing it for? 3 now? Or is it just 2?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He didn't make it at Aberdeen, where he was. He went to Morton. He went to St Mirren first. Didn't make a great impact there. They moved him to Morton. Didn't make a great impact there. And then... You
wonder if it is another Stephen Dobie, who did very little anywhere other than Queen of the South.
Oh, that's the thing. Again,
I think we've discussed this.
Charlie Mann on Sports Scene had a crisis, frankly, describing Stephen Dobie getting the goal, and this man is just... And you're like, shut up. He is playing he's playing below his level.
Oh, 100%.
Because he's not succeeded
anywhere else.
And, you're telling me there wasn't offers for him in the summer to go to the Premiership?
low-level Premiership at the very least.
Oh, freaking Aberdeen or someone like that would have
You got
taken.
Stevie May, a big money
I
signing.
actually bricked myself when I saw him
came
get up
on-
in his tracksuit top
wait.
today.
I mean, Anderson did nothing that I can remember particularly, but
Who, Bruce?
yeah, I don't remember him doing too
Aberdeen
much.
have a
but-
bad history though. Like Scott Bain was an Aberdeen player at one point.
I mean, Bruce Anderson looks like he could develop into something,
They'll drop them too early.
probably. But have they done the same with Shankland? I think is the point there.
That is the problem. Is that
What age is Shankland?
20,
Early 20s.
yeah, 22, 23
Yeah.
is what I put. I guess. I don't think he's fit enough for a start. And when you actually see him in the flesh, yes, he's very prolific and he's an excellent striker of the ball. But
Very prolific, not very fit, scores lots of goals. Where have I heard that one before?
Morelos. I don't see it at Swansea. I would be
I think you're
interested
probably
to
right,
see
but-
how he would fare in the Premiership. I'd be interested to see if Ayr United got to the Premiership, what a Premiership Somerset Park would look like for a start.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility. It's looking more and more probable as every other team in that division seems to be.
Actually cry as a supporter of Falkirk for many years.
Nobody. It proves that their decision to go. They went professional
In
as
League
after
One.
having been relegated.
Yeah,
It completely backs up that decision.
it does.
Maybe a springboard for other teams to do the same.
Might be. We'll be interested to see, Arbroath, doing so well. Because I just think competing at the top level just gives your team a great mentality to set you up. And look at, like Partick Thistle. That was another player, back in the Dundee United days, their star players were like Blair Spittle and Simon Murray. Both of them went to the Premiership.
I haven't pushed on.
Yeah, it didn't really pan out. I wonder how Simon Murray's doing in South Africa, actually. That's an interesting one.
Is that where he moved
That's
to?
where he went. Brown bread, white bread. It's the only words I can say. No, hold on.
No. I don't want to hear it.
Secrets. That's as bad as the acting you'll
do you know
see.
what? That wasn't dreadful, but okay.
Secret. If you watch Lethal Weapon 2 or 3, the South Africans,
Okay.
I think Lethal Weapon 2, because the accents are really bad.
Right.
That's akin to something like that. Anyway, I will see what happens with Lawrence Shankland. I heard Dundee were in the mix in the summer. Which
I'd be surprised if it was as low as that,
maybe.
because I don't see Dundee having the funds. But
Probably not. We will round up, I think, the Premiership very quickly before we go on to talk about our European qualifier group, which is very interesting. This weekend, Scott Arfield gets sent off for a horrendous challenge on is it Ismail Lamal or something in the Hearts goal? Horrific.
it was.
Like
I kind of get.
what he was doing.
Yeah, he's trying to score a goal, but I want to liken it to a FIFA challenge that you'd put in just to get a guy sent off, just because.
You're so narked. You just go
but-
in behind somebody.
But you could. So keeper saves the ball.
Yes.
He's halfway back into the net. His hand is outstretched on the ball. The hands are on the ball.
Yes.
It looks as if his hands are going to slide off the ball and Arfield can slide in and score. But the way he does it is just ridiculous.
I thought Bobby Madden was brilliant in that he just runs in straight up with a red card, but then has to turn round and shield Scott Arfield from the onslaught, which I would have left him to the Lions, frankly. Not that I'm calling Hearts to the Lions, especially not at the moment, but
does my absolute head in at the moment. I can't watch European football for that reason. Did you see any of the Liverpool PSG game?
I saw a lot of PSG
just
antics that was like
antics. Do my nut in. There was a really good example of it. Andy Robertson, he took a swing at Neymar, tried to kick the ball away, and caught Neymar full on. Turned round, got his booking, apologised to everybody in the area, and Dani Alves sprints from right back to the left wing position and starts shoving him around the place, telling him he's done wrong. He's Andy Robertson sitting there going, "Look, I know I did. I'm sorry, but."
no.
And it seems to be wherever Alves and Neymar go, that's where it is, because it was the same when he was at Barca. El Clásicos were unwatchable.
Oh, aye. But
for me.
What really got to me was the way they celebrated their goal as well was ridiculous. All this meme emoji rubbish with
just
flicking cash, and I was like,
that is what football's turning into now. It's what I don't know.
I don't like that they were not in that blimmin' kit, which I spent, a sizable amount of money on the start of the year just to find out that there'd be like a Michael Jordan collection, which is impossible to get your hands on, by the way.
Well,
I'm going to keep trying. That'll be a good week, okay? But I absolutely shocked. And again, actually, the Rangers players, when they scored, straight towards the Hearts fans to celebrate.
It's just more like, again, antics. Does my
It's funny though, because the cameramen have a mare trying to get a good angle of that, because everyone behind that camera is pulling the most, erroneous gesture known to man.
And I know it's difficult for referees, but book them. Book every one of them.
Solved. Just Rangers players or
all the fans as well? Why not?
Book the fans. But you get like a 3-game ban. That's not a bad shout, actually.
You get the. I mean, specifically going back to the PSG game, because it's the game that I noticed it most in. Mm-hmm. Book Alves for that. He's run so far across the field just to get involved and try and start a rammy. Mm-hmm. What's the point? What's it going to achieve?
Well, that was the problem with in today's final. Was Dominic Ball at one point turned around and tried to take on the referee and like pushed him, and then was like, "Sorry, sorry."
But he got booked.
I know.
And then almost the same situation happened later, where Ball got tripped, tried to start a counter attack, and he stood there and he took the free kick and nothing happened. And look, that booking's worked.
Consistency. That's true. So they won 2-1 to go top of the league. Celtic though with 2 games in hand. One game in hand.
It is just the one.
So we are. It was about this time last year though that they'd levelled the points.
Again, go back and watch old episodes.
No one else did.
We spoke about the start of the season, the predictions, and
don't go back to. Do not.
Well, no, okay. The one after that, the first one that I was on, and we're talking about the Rangers Celtic potential title challenge. I said I think John agreed with me that in January he could see there being a title race.
And
that's what we have at the moment.
Dulwich Hamlet did get beat at the weekend.
Devastating.
2-0 by like Harrowfield or something. I think it was an FA Cup game too, so that was a shame.
Why did I feel that this is going to be a weekly?
I'm interested. But
we'll see Dulwich top on the hanger next week, will we?
I don't know how easy that would be to source. Anyone watching from Dulwich Hamlet, write in, send us a freebie. Anyone who does send us a kit. Do you know what, it was funny, I was playing fives this week, and some guy had like a South American top on, but it was like white with a yellow band with 2 navy blue stripes. And because when I play fives, I don't have my glasses. I was like, is he wearing a Dumbarton shirt? And you're like, that's really cool. If that's a it's like some Mexican team or something like that was like commonly available. But I was like, so I thought you were wearing a Dumbarton shirt. I was like, no, who are Dumbarton? What are you talking about? Okay. If you've got any suggestions for the wall, do let us know. Although I'm restricted to what I have.
I'm trying to think if I've got anything. I used to have a Leeds top. That's about as exotic as my football tops ever got, I think.
I really wish you had a PSG tops with Thompson on the front of it, because that was your second name.
So I did.
It had the offset stripe. I remember that one. That would have been the Ronaldinho
probably,
era.
Because if it was in the really old shops in Falkirk.
The in shop. That was brilliant. They used to have this right. People in Aberdeen will know this as well, because there were in shops in Aberdeen as well. But it was like a market.
It was just a wee market, yeah.
But there was a guy in there that just sold like
random football tops.
Yes, like surplus from like old season. I got a brilliant like Newcastle United goalie top, and
there's hundreds of them.
I should come back. It's too hard, because see, when you try and source old ones these days, they're more blooming expensive than is reasonable. Where were we?
We were on Hearts Rangers. I don't know how we've got here, but
Celtic will pick up their points. We'll see how they go. But with that Rangers mentality under Gerrard, I think it'll be interesting to see how they challenge. Elsewhere, a team that's completely lost their mentality and lost the light in their life is Aberdeen. With some floodlight trouble at Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. But it was fine, because when the camera... It was funny, because have you seen the highlights?
I haven't.
When the floodlights go, obviously the camera exposure doesn't get time to adjust, so it stays expecting it's bright. And the only thing you can see is the Hibernian players in their day glow yellow. And if they were glow in the dark, it would be minty. Stuff floodlights, just get everyone, dip them in glow in the dark paint. But that game
I don't know
timing
what has
issues
happened
as well.
to Hibs.
They've just gone. Not winning 6 or something like that.
I mean, the form at the start of the season looked like... I mean,
They were as imperious as Hearts. Nearly.
Yeah, it was the two of them were up top two in the table, I'm sure, for a while, with Edinburgh City doing so well down in League Two. But
so we can't draw comparison. Well, Livingston kind of went down, but kind of came back up this weekend. I think watching the highlights is their defence had a shocker.
Really, the Hibs defence not playing
well. Shocker with Effie Ambrose. They played, I think, 5 centre halves
and still conceded 3.
Well, but how do you play 5 centre halves in an efficient configuration? And someone who I sang the praises of, like Darren McGregor's just lost it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what. Is it Lennon?
Well, Lennon's been interesting this week because what he's come out and said is that, he can't keep, lambasting them and you know, to get the best out of them. At some point, he's got to say, right.
Maybe there's something I've done wrong. No, because see if you look at his managerial credentials, what's he done?
Well, he did very well with Celtic.
Did very well with a Celtic team
that were very good.
In comparison to everything they were playing. Other than that last season, I'm not saying he did badly at Celtic. Don't get me wrong. Don't start comment wars because I can't reply to all of them. But
there's no worries about that.
But he went to Bolton. That nearly got them relegated.
But that financially was a bomb scare of a job.
Regardless,
it still is. I don't think their wages were paid this week.
Really, still.
Yeah.
I thought they'd sorted themselves out because they were doing okay. And
no pages paid. They got beat by Wigan at the weekend. But then he got Hibernian up, a job which the mighty Alan Stubbs, destroyer of football teams, couldn't manage.
He manages really good teams in really poor leagues really well. Well done to him.
Sometimes that's what you need. Falkirk, he could have done that a few seasons ago.
I mean, I'm not. Maybe I'm trying to say he's not a good manager. I don't think I am, but I'll be interested to see if he can.
I like him as a manager, but obviously as a manager you are going to have challenges in your career and you are judged on how you deal with that. He has a challenge to deal with because I said at the start of the season that's the best front line in the league. Arguably,
but yeah.
And he's got to utilise. He's got multiple internationals. Boyle has been lauded for his displays for Australia recently by folk like Tim Cahill, which I bet he would have never thought happened in his life.
No, I mean they have so much talent.
Boyle born in Aberdeen, by the way.
There's enough talent going to waste in Scotland that
playing for other people.
Yeah, so
Arfield, Canada. That's why he kicked out, maybe.
Canadians renowned for their anger issues.
Well, if only Marcus Haber at Falkirk could show some fire. He's Canadian. Marcus Godinho. I should have had a Canadian
Was it Marcus
quiz.
Haber that was taking digs at the fans again? Well, I say taking digs at the fans. Which one of the Falkirk players was complaining about racial abuse?
Denon Lewis was.
It was.
Yeah, that was weird. It was a lot of negative press, and as of yet, I've not found any evidence to say that those comments have been founded or anything like that. There was a lot of unusual circumstances surrounding it.
Okay.
So I'm holding judgment on that until it's resolved. But funny the lights went off. They still played on, and Kilmarnock won 3-0.
You can imagine the panic around Kilmarnock. 2-0 up. No. Very little time left. Well, I don't know how long was left when the second one went, but it can't have been ages.
The first stoppage, I think, was 15. The second stoppage was 18. They said if it happened again.
Oh, wait, 15th and 18th minute?
No. They lasted for that amount of time.
Right, I don't. But I just
it was
mean
in the second half.
I know it was second half. It was just, but 2-0 up against. I mean, essentially a rival for a position. You don't want that game getting cancelled.
If you played them 3 months down the line when they say have sorted their issues,
yeah, exactly.
Well, Greg Stewart looks like a man possessed for Kilmarnock at the moment. He is just on, and Brophy come back as well. It's just such an exciting team at the moment, and they until Rangers played were within 2 points of the lead.
I would expect them to be at least fourth, if not third.
I'd love to see them go for Europe. Actually, someone a bit different, someone a bit fresh.
Well, they were there. Oh no, I was thinking St Johnstone. When were Kilmarnock last there?
Could have been a wee while.
It might have been actually. I thought it was fairly recently, but I think it was at St Johnstone that got beat on penalties.
Probably.
Fairly recently
by some rubbish
Eastern
European sides.
Yeah, I think I've got the two of them mixed up.
I remember listening to that on the radio. Yeah. But top six is going to be really interesting because it looks like St Johnstone keep picking up results, although are consistently involved in boring games. And it could be your likes of Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts are kind of on the cusp for the.
I mean, if Hearts keep picking up injuries, and
It looks like Livingston's kind of star's gone out a bit. So,
as you said, win at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Wee bit optimism back, but they shouldn't be there.
No.
I would expect Livingston will be 9th by the end of the season.
Well, they've still got quite a happy gap to the Hamilton, St Mirren, Dundee battle.
Exactly. You've got your bottom 3, and then you've got the rest.
Yeah.
It's a bit like it is in the Championship, where you've got Falkirk, Alloa, and Partick.
Dunfermline are a good 10
and
points
then
away or something.
It's miles ahead. So,
oh well, we'll see how we go. But also announced this week was another league we'll be competing in of the European variety, the European qualifiers. What group are we in?
I have absolutely.
We're
no
in A
idea.
group. Okay, not Group A, but A group. And who do we have, Fraser?
We have Belgium, Russia, Cyprus, Kazakhstan, and San Marino.
San Marino, very good, very well remembered.
And I am very excited at the prospect of it.
Is it just the top one that qualifies?
I believe it is. Top goes through. Actually, I might be completely wrong about this,
Second
because
goes
this is the
into a
Euros.
playoff.
How many group is it? So
well, we're
there's
in a group of an odd number of teams, which is usually a bad thing.
Even number of teams.
Is it? What is it? Oh, yeah, I've never
Because we're in it too.
All right, so that would usually mean 2 places of some kind, wouldn't it?
No, because it's always the same number. So when it comes to the end of it, if you're in a group of 6, then your matches against the bottom ranked team get struck off the record, and then you end up in a group of 5 technically. Does that make sense?
Right. I don't know
So
why that is.
assuming San Marino come last and we've beaten them twice,
Which we will.
touching wood.
Well, we have to. They're the team that get beat like 7-8-0 consistently.
Those games would get completely ignored.
Uh-huh.
The points would be taken off us, which means that we don't have an added advantage of getting extra points. So for the Euros, I think, what is it? There are 12 groups.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I need to look this up, because. So if you've taught, it's got to be less than 12. Maybe it's 10.
I mean, what I'm hoping
10
is
groups,
that,
10 group winners.
the top team gets an auto spot. We know that for a fact.
Yes.
That will be Belgium, I think. I cannot see... We would need half the Belgium team to retire in its current state in the next 2 or 3 years. I'll continue chatting away.
Yeah, sorry.
Fraser's doing his statistics looking up there. Russia, depends on how well doped up they are that day. Kazakhstan, I think, could actually be a bit of a
It's
banana
perhaps more
skin.
of a challenge than people are expecting. I don't
Because I
want to
remember,
donate.
like when Aberdeen went out there to play the European teams, their teams have a lot of money pumped into them.
It's a long way to go, but the money that gets pumped in quite often gets used to buy second-rate Brazilians.
Yeah, I know, but well, get your waxes elsewhere. What was I going to say? I've put off track. But that does raise the quality of the other players as well, and I couldn't.
It could.
Sardar Azmoun, is he Kazakhstan?
Right, so
He
where
could be
are
from
we?
Kazakhstan. Cyprus, I think, should be. Oh, that'd be a great away day, depending on when it falls.
So 20 of the 24 teams for the finals to be decided by the group stage. So I would assume that means...
So that will be every winner gets his place. Some second place teams get a place, and then others will get a playoff
place.
So will we be
Potentially.
using?
So it's 10 groups. So maybe it's just top 2 go through. Top 2 go through, and then the
don't
best
know.
4 third places.
I don't know. Now, I think we can write off the Belgium result. I really do.
You would think so.
Russia, I mean, a team that did qualify through the group stages at the World Cup to the quarter
Beat
final.
Spain on penalties.
You know that,
And then got beat off Croatia.
and I know that we've fired up with our home nation stuff, but that's not without merit entirely.
Oh. So actually, it looks like it's just the top 2 in each group. And then the rest of the... Oh, of course it is.
So there's now more teams in it.
The playoff play. So it's the top 2 go through, and then it's the 2 teams, and then the playoffs are decided totally by Nations League.
Right, okay. So they've ditched...
So we are in the playoffs 100%.
Yes.
But if we come top 2 in the group, then we qualify automatically. God, this Nations League's amazing. It just makes everything so easy.
The problem is that we have to keep our fingers crossed that... Was it Montenegro would be the hardest team we could have got in the playoff stage?
Norway, Finland.
I think it was Montenegro that was the hardest one. It was the team. It was one with like Matic and like
Serbia.
I think Serbia was the hardest one. So if they qualify,
Yeah, we're sorted.
it's a free pass. Well, do you know what I say that? Don't quote that when we get pumped by Finland.
Right,
in 3 years time.
Now that we've worked this one out, we only have to come second.
Can we do that?
Yes, 100%. Absolutely 100% we can
So
do
we
that.
can beat Russia?
Yes. Give me a reason why not.
We
Haven't
beat anyone as good as Russia recently.
So bear in mind, the last time when the Russians went into the tournament, the World Cup,
Yes.
it was lauded as the worst Russian team of all time.
Yes.
Yes, they've had a really good World Cup to build on,
Yes.
but that was a home World Cup where they played every game at home. They got to travel to every stadium that they wanted to, essentially.
Yes.
Like,
this is my Russian accent.
God, it's better than your South African one, at least.
Mother Russia.
Please stop.
You know they'll get here quickly, though, don't you? Because they're Russian. Like they're Russian. Anyway, sorry.
I just want to leave silence for the awkwardness of the audio to go through.
Don't do that.
But the Kazakhstan have their abilities, but we should beat them twice.
Yes.
San Marino. Oh my God,
Let's
if we
not
don't
write
beat
off.
them twice.
Shouldn't be in these groups.
And Cyprus. Again, Cyprus and Kazakhstan, I think, are fairly similar. They are decent.
Yeah.
But we should be beating them both times.
Potential banana skins again.
I would take Georgia to beat both of them.
Yeah. I mean,
And we know we slip up with Georgia, but
my concern on the top end of things is that we were scraping by a team like Israel, right? Now,
yeah, okay.
Israel compared to Russia, I think.
Oh no, I
Russia,
take the Russians.
Again, it's a very
the Russians would beat the Israelis,
exactly.
but we beat the Israelis,
So we're on a high,
and we finally found a system that works.
well, we're on a high from.
By the way, congratulations to the Scotland team. We haven't actually spoken about us beating Israel.
Oh, we not. That was very good, and I love the new setup of like the young blood. We do need a striker. Fletcher's working for the
Griffiths.
moment, but
Lee Griffiths.
he's not playing anywhere near enough.
Don't care.
games.
Best striker. He's a new.
His career's over as far as I'm concerned. His best days are long behind him.
It's just no.
Yes. Why isn't he on the park for Celtic today? At any point in the match?
Because Dembele's excellent. They're running 1-0. They don't need another striker. Not Dembele.
well,
Edwards.
Dembele's playing rubbish in Leon.
Nolan.
Pat's falling out with the manager.
Edwards there because he links the rest of the team into play.
cost a lot of money.
Griffiths and he cost a lot of money. Griffiths can do the same thing.
By the way, huge gripe. Can like top teams stop playing one person up front? Like two people up front.
Why?
It's better in my mind. It's boring these days. We're far too reliant on defensive and midfield play, which is not exciting.
I don't know.
Just bash the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-4 as I used to do. And
Well, I was going to say 4-3-3 still only one striker.
yeah, no, but it's more forward.
Well,
but
the Scotland team's got Forrest and Christie and Fraser and then the striker. That's three attacking players getting forward with the striker.
well, no, and I love that.
And then you got your two holding midfielders.
If that's what they stick with, then brilliant, right? But we have not used that against anyone that is good. Like they didn't play the
But
friendly.
we used the same thing that we did against Belgium and got beat by
but
Israel, and then we changed it and we beat Israel.
Yeah, but then-
so then that's a better system.
But that's not going to beat Belgium.
I don't care.
And I'm
we
not
don't
sure-
we don't need to beat Belgium.
Well, I'm not sure that's going to beat Russia.
I think it will. I think it will at least once.
Dangerous to beat Russia.
The honest,
Think of
my
the
honest
nerve
thing
agents
is,
that
right,
would occur in
if
the
we
hotel.
if we can beat Russia twice, right,
And win all of the rest of our games, which we won't do.
I don't see any reason we can't.
We can.
6 games against
Fraser,
bang average
we're
teams.
Scotland. Well, we are a bang average team.
We're better than bang average, or they are worse than bang average. We are a different level from what they are, and I'm sorry. And quote, I'm happy for you to come back and quote me on this.
I mean,
We'll win 6 games out of 6.
and still finish third.
Potentially, but that's where the Nations League has got us in the playoffs.
We're just not going to beat Belgium. Like flat out right now, Belgium are too good.
You give it a one-off game.
They got
I know
nowhere,
I'm
seeing
begging.
that friendly, right? They got nowhere near. And
Playing
I know,
a crappy system with crappy players.
I know that's an entirely different squad, right? But
And Belgium did have a strong team.
well, Belgium will still have a
Yes,
strong
they
team.
will. But before anybody makes the point, it was Belgium in a friendly and they weren't playing their proper team. They weren't. They were. Sorry, we weren't. It's they are not 4-0. They might be 4-0 better than us, but we will put on a better show and with a better crowd and a better atmosphere.
That's true. I was gutted at actually that attendance for the Israel game. I actually wish I'd gone because it was the most exciting thing to happen to Scottish football since the Curran Cup back in
Piss
2000.
off. Just piss off.
What? Was that 2006?
It was when I was still at high school, so I don't. And we beat South Korea in the finals, or Japan or something.
Yeah. It was the only thing we've ever won in international
Was it
football.
Japan, Nigeria, and South Africa or something with the 4 teams in it?
Nice to be part of it, okay? But I see us at best finishing second.
I think we could force it into a 1-game shootout with Belgium. Which would be really nice. A 2-game shootout. They'll beat us in Belgium.
Viewers that are watching in 2042, tell us how wrong Fraser was, or how correct I was, or vice versa. It's totally up to you. So we'll see what happens there. But of course, renewed enthusiasm around the Scotland team.
100%.
Hopefully that can convert to the support, and just please pick the same team.
Pick the same team,
because I bet you they won't. And it's happened.
You'll bring Mulgrew back in. Do you know? To be fair, you need another centre half. I'm not convinced it's Bates. I'm not convinced yet.
It's not Bates. It's not Hendry.
It's hell no. It's not Hendry.
It's maybe not McKenna.
I think McKenna you have to give a chance to, because he's not played badly for Scotland. Bates hasn't played badly for Scotland yet.
No,
to be fair to him,
really tested in that last game.
No, too poor.
Everyone talks about Liam Cooper at the kind of the Leeds boy. That's we've not seen too much.
I haven't seen him. I need to see him.
But we shall wait and see what happens there.
And we need a proper right back.
I don't understand how a left back can't play a right back, but
there's a big difference.
It's an entire point for another day. Anyway, that brings us nicely, hopefully, to the end of our podcast. So, thank you very much for listening from myself, Paul.
And from me, Fraser.
I'm very smooth.
Sorry.
And join us probably in the next couple of weeks, but actually I think the next episode will possibly be the Christmas special.
Oh, Christ.
Yes, stay tuned for that. So, anyway, have a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good morning. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.